Let's talk attaching solar panels to your RV roof. Okay, so I'm on the roof of my RV today to talk about what I think is the best way to attach solar panels to the roof of your RV. Now, I've attached a number of solar panels to RV roofs, and I got to tell you, the way that I figured out that I did on this rig, our current RV, by far the best way. And it is based around a couple of key components that you need to have. One of these components is this right here. Let me tilt the camera down so you can see. Maybe turn just a little bit here. These right here. This is Strut Channel. Strut Channel is typically used to mount like electrical systems or conduit or whatever, both inside and outside. And the cool thing about the Strut Channel is that it allows you to basically attach your things to it wherever you want by using these little movable nuts. So the idea is, the way this works is you take these and you pop them into your channel here, you twist them, now they're locked into place, but you can still move them wherever you want up and down your channel. And so you can basically position where you want, in this case on the roof, where you want your panels to be. Now, not only can these things get moved around, but again, if you don't want them, if you don't need them, you just pop them right back out again and you can put them away, so they're not permanent. Strut Channel is awesome. This is kind of that key component that makes this what I think the best way to attach your solar panels to your roof, because it gives you that flexibility. Now let me give you a little bit of backstory here on why and how I came up with this idea. So let me bring this back up here so we can see me. So kind of the impetus for this idea was when I was going to attach the panels onto the roof of our new RV, I wanted to have flexibility on how and where I put the panels and have the ability to move the panels. Because normally when you attach panels to the roof of your RV, you're going to use little brackets like this. The idea is these brackets hook onto your solar panel, and then you screw the brackets right to the roof of your RV. Now, these work great. They're solid. There's really nothing inherently wrong with the way using these to attach them to your roof, but you don't get some of the benefits that you do by using the Strut Channel. So for example, I wanted flexibility. I wanted to be able to move panels, add new panels, replace panels. If I were using these, that wouldn't have been an option, because once you attach this and then screw it to your roof, your panel's on your roof. It's not going anywhere. And to get up underneath so that you can even attach it, you have to attach these to your panels before you screw them to the roof, because you screw them in from the bottom. So you really can't get underneath it very easily to remove these if you needed to replace a broken panel or whatever. So that's a problem. And another problem is that, again, once they're down, they're down. And to move them, you have to basically rip them off of your roof, which damages your roof membrane and leaves holes in your roof, which is something you definitely don't want. So you don't get the flexibility with these. Strut Channel gives you that flexibility. So let me kind of point the camera down a little bit again so we can kind of see what I'm doing here. There we go. And by the way, again, I am on my roof. I've got stuff going on, airplanes, cars. I apologize if the audio is a little bit less than optimal, but anyway. So Strut Channel is the number one key. This is what makes your life easy. Now, you can actually use Strut Channel in conjunction, your traditional mounting brackets in conjunction with Strut Channel. You would just pop these in, attach these to your panels, and then when you attach your Strut Channel to your roof, you attach it at the width that allows you to, basically come right down and screw these right into the mounting points on your strut channel. So you would, if you're using 100 watt panels, you'd have to put these a little bit closer to make it work out. Now, that was great, except that also starts limiting your flexibility, because if you're starting with 100 watt panels and then you attach your strut channel to your roof based on the width of your 100 watt panels, now you're somewhat limited on if you wanted to upgrade panels in the future, because 200 watt panels are actually wider than your 100 watt panels. They're both wider and longer. And so having in mind that I was going to upgrade to 200 watt panels in the future, I needed to go with something that gave me additional width. So that enters the second part of the equation here. So let me bring this back up. All right, so the second part of the equation here are these angle mount brackets. Now these angle mount brackets have been around forever. I mean, these are nothing new. You see these all the time. And the idea these are really designed around is being able to, I got a dog barking now too, so anyway, we'll see. Anyway, unscrew these. The idea is with these is to have you be able to angle your panel so that you can tilt it into the sun and get better efficiency. And that is something that I wanted to be able to do on this RV install. So if we were out boondocking for a long time, we could arrange the rig in a way that I could angle these and get the optimal amount of sun. And it's super easy because you just have these little screw knobs and wing nuts and just bolt everything together. And then you have these additional pieces that when you want to angle them up, you just pop these in, screw in your bolts at whatever angle you want. So you've got the one on the top and you've got another one down here on the bottom, and then you just angle it to however you want. Now that's kind of cool, I mean, just being able to angle it. But taking us back to the point of mounting this on the strut channel, these are about 28 inches wide, which means they can be used for panels up to 28 inches wide, which includes 200 watt panels. 200 watt panels are about 26 or so inches wide. So that gave me the perfect way to take and mount my 100 watt panel to start right now, and yet have a wide enough stance that I could use 100 watt panels or anything up to those 200 watt panels and have that flexibility. So that's kind of the second part of this equation. The number one is this strut channel. This strut channel, that's the aha moment. That's, I think, the game changer. But combining the strut channel with something like these that gives you a flexibility of width, now you have real flexibility as to where you put your panels on your roof, and the ability to swap panels out for newer, bigger, better panels in the future. So again, that was my aha moment. And that was the, again, kind of the impetus behind coming up with this idea. Now, a couple of things I want to point out about how I have these panels installed, and the strut channel particularly installed, and some things that I've done with that. So let me point this down here again. All right, so you can see the strut channel here is white. It's not white when you buy it. Actually, when you get the strut channel, it's either going to be electro galvanized, which is just silver, or you can get in a gold galvanized. I got the gold galvanized. But I went out and had the strut channel powder coated. It wasn't cheap, but I kind of took my wife's advice. She, having been through all of these RV solar installs that I've done, she says, one thing I've learned is do it right the first time because it's cheaper. And said, okay. And so I went out and had the strut channel powder coated to make it last even longer. Now, having said that, I don't think you actually have to do that, because the electro galvanized stuff is designed to be able to live outside and not rust. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the galvanization. It's going to either be that goldish color or the silver color, but I think you could safely attach that strut channel directly to your roof without it being powder coated like this and still be fine, particularly for the life of what you're probably going to own your RV for. But I took my wife's advice and said do it right the first time, so I went out and had it powder coated. Now let's talk a little bit about cost. I told you the powder coating is expensive. It was. This strut channel comes in 10-foot lengths typically. So you're going to get 10-foot lengths a 10-foot length is going to cost you anywhere between, say, $15 to $20. It was another, I don't know, I think for all of this stuff it cost me about $250 to get it powder coated, and the Strut Channel itself cost me about $150. So it was almost twice as much, a little more than twice as much to, or almost twice as much to powder coat it. If you don't want to powder coat, you can use maybe automotive paint. That would probably work just as well. Or you could probably even rattle can straight paint it, but I don't think the rattle can stuff is going to hold up to the weather as well as an automotive paint or the powder coating. One thing I liked also about the powder coating is it's a nice slick finish, and so the bolts and stuff that go in, they actually slide really nice and easy along it because of that that kind of smoothish finish that you get from powder coat. So again, powder coat I think is the right way to go. It costs more, but it's one of those things that this stuff is going to stay attached to this rig for its life. When I trade this rig in, and by the way, this is another one of the great advantages of attaching your solar panels this way. When I go to trade this rig in, if I can't get the value out of it that I want for the additional solar panels, I can very easily take all my solar panels right off and put them on my next rig, and the person who buys this rig from me can come up and they can attach their panels on super easy as well. So not only is it flexibility for me, but it's flexibility for future owners as well. But I guess I figured this is gonna, if I powder coated these, they would last the life of the rig without question, and if I traded it in, it would still be in great condition. And again, the next owner could have that same flexibility. Okay, so that's one thing. So powder coating them, great idea, extra expense. I think it's worth it, but you probably don't have to do it when attaching to your roof, because you would still gain the same advantages as well. All right, let's go look at some other things here. So I'm going to pick up the camera and walk just a little bit, so I apologize if it gets a little bit bumpy and wavy. Another one of the things I wanted to point out here is, let me put the camera down. As you can probably tell, this is a fifth wheel. Our current trailer is a fifth wheel. One of the things you have to, let me adjust that camera just a little bit. There we go. One of the things you have to consider is the profile of your roof. Now, let me turn this around really quick. As you can see, our tapering on the roof starts about right here. Now we don't have a full profile roof. We have like more of a traditional profile roof where it angles up and then kind of tapers off to the back. I was able to start with a Strut Channel right where that taper is and run it all the way down. Now I have a 10-foot piece, and then I cut another 10-foot piece and a half, so it's another 5 feet. So I got 15 feet on this side, and then I did a 10-foot piece here. I've got the antenna dome there. I put the 5-foot piece on the other side of that antenna dome. So one thing that you might have to do, let me turn that around, depending on the curvature of your roof, is you might need to chop your Strut Channel into shorter chunks and attach those chunks so you can actually follow the profile of the roof. And you can kind of see that example right here. Maybe turn this down just a hair so you can see a little bit better. Right here, I've got a place for a panel. I'm going to put 200-watt panels. I've got a couple extra spots up here. I've got one where I'm going to go across the roof this way because I didn't quite have enough room. It was tapering too much to go front and back like I've done all the rest of them. So I'm going to run it across here. And you can see with that really strong curvature there, I took and I cut my Strut Channel into smaller pieces, and you can actually buy them in these shorter lengths as well. And I think actually these I did buy in that shorter length, and then I attached those so they can adhere to the curvature of the roof. And you can kind of see right here where it's not completely touching the roof on that little corner right there, and that's again because of how the roof curves. That's actually not a problem because it's attached very solidly. I'm not going to worry about that, but I mean that's an issue that you might have to worry about. So as you attach the Strut Channel, make sure you attach it in a way that conforms to the curvature of your roof. Another thing I learned, and it's kind of another fringe benefit of going with the Strut Channel, is that it gives you, let me turn the camera over here again, maybe point it down just a little bit more. It gives you basically the equivalent of wiring trays. So again, I've got these two places up here that I'm going to be putting 200-watt panels here in the near future. But in the meantime, I needed to find a way to kind of manage my cables a little bit better. So for the rest of it, I'm actually running the cables just up underneath the Strut Channel, and really between the panel-to-panel connections are actually in between kind of this top part of the angle bracket and the solar panel. So it kind of keeps all that wiring up inside the panels. But as it drops down, I can actually run it underneath here. Again, move the camera back over here. You can see kind of underneath here. Now in the meantime, I've just cut these aluminum pieces and screwed them into those same little movable nuts, and that gives me a place where I can zip tie the cables on and get some nicer cable management going on here. Once I add an additional panel here, it'll have these same angle brackets, and then that angle bracket will kind of replace this and act as the bit for the cable channel. So again, that's another advantage of using the Strut Channel, is you kind of get some built-in cable management up underneath your solar panels, which is nice. Now, one of the questions that I know people are going to ask is, what about height? Because let me kind of move the camera up here so you can kind of get a longer view look at what I'm talking about here. Let's see if that's going to work. Yeah, I think that's probably good. So the height right here is, people are going to ask, is that too tall? Are you going to have problems with catching the wind? Is it going to be too high? You're going to be hitting stuff? Well, first of all, you can see it's well below the top of the air conditioner, which is going to be your highest point of the roof anyway. With the combination of the Strut Channel, which is 13/16 thick, and then these angle brackets, which is another 2.5 inches, if I remember right, that puts you about 3.5 inches from the deck up to the bottom of your solar panel. I have not found that to be a problem with wind or anything else. And it actually, there's a fringe benefit that comes to having this extra space underneath your panel as well. And that goes back to how solar panels work. Solar panels actually become less efficient the hotter they get. And so you want to find a way to kind of keep your panels as cool as possible, because they'll be more efficient. And the easiest way to do that, the most practical way, is airflow. And so having the extra distance between the roof deck and the bottom here, having that extra amount of space, actually promotes better airflow around the panel, which keeps the panel cooler, whereby theoretically giving you some better efficiency. Now let me run down and grab one of those traditional mount brackets really quick. And I can show you what I'm talking about here. So if you look at this bracket, this is the part where the panel goes, and then that's the part where it attaches. So if you look, that's about what you're going to have clearance wise underneath the bottom of your panel. So what is that, about what, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch? Again, perspective here, you can see not much. A lot more air circulation space. And as I talked about, not just air circulation space, but having the ability to have these things lifted off the roof deck. I can get my hands underneath here to work on stuff for wiring, or rerunning wiring, or whatever else. And because they're on the angle brackets, I can just unscrew, tilt it up, do whatever I need, cabling wise or whatever, drop it back down, screw it in, and I'm good to go. So again, this whole system that I've come up with here, I think, is the best way to attach your panels. So let me kind of wrap things up here, summarize everything. Aha moment, Strut Channel. Use Strut Channel to be the base of attaching your solar panels to your roof, and then use these angle brackets, these angling mount brackets, to attach your panels to the strut channel, because that gives you all those benefits we talked about: extra space, mobility. The whole thing gives you flexibility. It's the aha moment. I got to tell you, when I was installing this, I was giddy. I kept just laughing to myself, saying, oh my gosh, this is so easy. This is the best way to do this. Having experienced the traditional way so many times, this was a godsend. And so that's why I'm sharing it with the YouTubes here, in the hope that other people can learn from what I've done here and have the same benefits. That, like I said, I think it is the best way, at least that I've found so far, to attach solar panels to your roof. So anyway, that's kind of my little video this time. Hopefully you found this interesting and helpful and informative. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them in the comments. I'll try to reply there as much as possible. Likewise, the traditional, like and subscribe, thumbs up, all of that stuff, because having people subscribe to your channel definitely does help. Again, I appreciate the viewing, and we'll see you, I guess, in the next video.